Welcome to Water Within Astrology. We are here today to talk about the Leo new moon occurring on the 24th of July at 3:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the good year of 2025. This year that we have been seeing so much change, so much of our new lives are being revealed, so much of what is no longer serving us is falling away, and these are answering our dreams, and we're making our dreams a reality with this new energy that's coming in. So let's get into it. We're talking about the sun and the moon at the same point, which is 2 degrees of Leo. So if you have anything at the early degrees of the fixed signs, that's where you're going to want to look to see if anything is being activated in your chart. The fixed signs are Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. And so those are signs that are, of course, it's in the name. They are fixed. They tend to be a little bit more stubborn. They tend to be a little more fixed in their ways. And that is a good quality about them, and it also is a bad quality. Just like everything, we are balancing the energies. And I am outside again today. I woke up to the sound of hammering and construction on my downstairs neighbor's porch. They're reconstructing the whole huge wooden deck, so I was not able to do my video at home. But it's okay because I got out to this beautiful area that's right next to my house that I haven't fully explored. It's not too huge of an area, but I really got to feel like I'm getting intimate with this space a little bit more than I would before. So I thank you guys for going on this little exotic journey with me, and I'm going to do my best about the sound. My microphone is charged and working today, so my apologies about last week. I appreciate any feedback, and I appreciate the views. And so let's keep it going. Let's make a YouTube channel. We're talking about this new moon in Leo. And if you don't know about Leo, you're about to. That's the energy of Leo. It's like, oh, what, you don't know me? Do you know who I am? You should know who I am. Like, this is the celebrity. This is the person that has maybe this what's the word? Complex of like wanting to be the center of attention, but also simultaneously playing this like humility game where it's like, oh no, I didn't really want to be in the center of attention, but like now that I'm here, trying to be nonchalant, but low-key, everyone can tell that these people just want attention. And that's not to say all Leos are like this. Leo, in its healed form, is the center of the solar system, right? It's ruled by the sun. Sun is the center of the solar system. And the sun is not like begging all these other planets to revolve around it. It just naturally occurs. The sun is shining all the time, regardless of who's watching or not. The sun is, this beautiful life-bringing energy that seems to be endless and seems to just never go out and is constant. And so in its nature, it is a very masculine energy, because constancy and changeability are the qualities associated with masculine and feminine when we talk about the energy. And so that can be a little interesting when we pull in the fact that this is a new moon, because the moon is this changeable, feminine, and reflective quality, and the sun is, the opposite. It's this shining, bright, constant body that is not looking for someone to reflect it, but that is what is being reflected, is the light of the sun in the moon. And so that could be a push and pull right now, wanting to do a lot and feeling like you want to get a lot done action wise, or wanting to rest and wanting to listen to your body and wanting to be a little bit more passive and receptive to the energies. What Leo also is when it's in its healed form is the king, the good king, the sovereign king, the loyal king, the good king that takes care of the people that it governs. Because yes, Leo is on a pedestal as a person who's royal, or as a person who has privilege, or has, more of a platform, or whatever, a celebrity has more influence. And it could be, so when we're thinking about the axis of Leo and Aquarius, the two opposite fixed signs from each other, we are seeing that Leo is the performer and Aquarius is the audience. And what can happen when these two polarities are out of balance? The Aquarian person isolates themselves, or the Aquarian energy isolates themselves and can become completely othered and feel like it's not part of the group because it's so different, no one will ever understand, or whatever. I don't even belong in this time frame, I'm from the future, or whatever, from the past. And then the Leo energy self-isolates in a different way, where it feels like it's above other people, and it feels like it is too proud to ask for help. It's too proud to come down off of its pedestal to become like with the others, with the lesser than, with the peasants. But I was thinking about how the most wholesome parts in a movie that's got kings involved, I'm thinking of El Dorado, especially. If you know, but there's this scene, where the two main characters are thought of as gods and kings of this lost civilization of El Dorado. And so they're put on this high pedestal, they're completely isolated in their temple, they're not really supposed to go down and be with the people. And then there's this scene where I think it's Miguel is the one, his name, who does that, but he goes down and he gets to know the people, and people are freaked out. They're like, no, my lord, I'm not fit to look upon your face, or whatever. And then it's like, no, let's just be friends. Let's connect on a human level. Let's, remember that we're all sovereign, and we're all amazing, and we're all kingly and worth worshiping, and all this other stuff that Leo reminds us of, because we all have Leo in us somewhere, right? This is the dance of the zodiac. We all have all 12 of the signs in our charts somewhere, even if we don't have a planet or point there. We have it somewhere in a house, no matter what. There's no escaping it. So that's what's cool about the archetype of Leo, is it, especially coming after Cancer season, which we all, what goes without saying, can go ahead and just say Cancer season, especially with Jupiter in Cancer this year, has been extra sad girl summer, has been extra moody and extra nostalgic, extra. It's just been blown up by Jupiter. And so if you have been going through it, you are not alone, and you are also doing the work, and that is how you feel it to heal it, my friends. And it's been a journey together of all of us peeling back the layers of what we needed to peel back, getting those new perspectives, giving ourselves that new relationship with the feminine, whatever it looked like for you. You did it. It's obviously not going to be over for a long time. What we're seeing, I think, with this energy, and I'm going to get into why it's so, it could be so volatile right now, is, on the world stage, what have we seen happen in the past 48 hours? I'm recording today on the 21st. So, or maybe it's the 22nd. Sorry, guys. We are within the 3-day window of the new moon, which is 3 days before and 3 days after. That's the portal that I consider to be that energy is available. And we have seen the Trump, sorry, I wasn't supposed to say his name, but you know, that guy, he's getting put back on the grill about the files from you know who, and he's playing this game of avoidance, and he's, you know, it's like so paper thin, like anyone can see through what he's trying to do. And we're just letting him do it, by the way. So anyways, that's, you know, a hot take. Another thing about the Pluto and Sun and Moon opposition is that Leo has a tendency to be that person that is liked by everyone, you know, like politicians, or not in these days and age, but, you know, normally it's like someone who is, you know, winning the people over, and they're very likable, and but oftentimes what do we know about those people, especially now in this day and age where we can pretty much assume that, yes, maybe this person looks like a nice person on the outside and on paper, but what hidden darkness do they also have within them that, you know, eventually will come to light and eventually will catch up with whoever it is. And it's like, you know, what did these people that are now in power, or now like sovereign leaders, sovereign used lightly here, how did these people get to where they are? And like, what dirty secrets, you know, and what rules did they break, and what taboos were involved, and blah, blah, blah. What was involved in getting them there? And like, what was, you know, considered not savory and hidden, needed to be kept hidden from the public eye in order to maintain this Leo image? And what kind of deep hurt and pain and deep emotions, Pluto, have we been cut off from? When Pluto's in Aquarius, it's like getting us back in touch with those really distant emotions that we have done a really good job of avoiding our whole lives and what have you, and been shut down to, and whatever else, and closed off to. And now it's like the Leo wants, it's not real, you know, the energy of the Leo isn't real unless it's authentic. It doesn't hit unless it's authentic. And those are the things that keep us from being the true light that we need to be in this life. It's like dealing with that stuff, that shadowy, dark stuff, that we might feel like we might lose our position as this likable person that's perfect and blah, blah, blah. We might have that entire illusion shattered because of what's going on over here with the Pluto energy. And that might just have to be okay, because if people don't like you, and when your truth is being shared, then they're not for you, honey. And we cannot be liked by everyone. It's not possible. And so it's how we, you know, operate within our own self, and how we stay in our own integrity, that is what matters. And that's what makes us good people. It's not about who likes us. It's not about who votes for us. It's not about any of that. Who claps at the end of the show. Because at the end of the day, we all go home after the show's over, and we go home to ourselves. All the fancy things that we do to our appearance, and to our home, and to our job, and to our cars, and all the things that come with the material fame and wealth and notoriety and glamour and all the things, those are all well and good, but also what happens when we all pass over the threshold of no return, and what happens when we get to the point where we all return to eventually, which is back to source, back to the earth, back to ashes. And, you know, does any of that stuff last past this life? Does anything last past this life, really? But does any of that stuff that we're doing to try to, you know, make up ourselves and make ourselves as beautiful on the outside as possible, or make our lives beautiful on the outside, how much depth is there to that process, and how much is any of that going to last, as far as like what it looks like, how heavy our soul is at the end of our journey, how heavy is our karma at the end of our journey. So, and our relationship with ourselves is gonna be, if we hate ourselves, we're going to seek validation, and we're gonna need to have someone else fill our cup always, and that's not sustainable. We need to figure out how to love ourselves more radically. We need to figure out how to love ourselves in a way that does cause us to revolt against the bullshit that we've been putting up with for so long. That does cause us to realize that we deserve a better quality of life, quality food, quality air, quality water, everything quality, Mars and Virgo. We need to have the audacity to stand up for ourselves for once. To take up space and to know our own divinity, to know our own sovereignty, to know our own true light is pure and is here to be shown with strength and vigor. And if we're too tired, maybe that's not our fault. Maybe it's because we're living in a society that is banking off of us being tired and self-hating and hungry and stuck in our root chakra that is totally fucked right now. Not saying we all are there, you know, but like it's very easy for us to find ourselves in that place right now in the way the story is playing out. So don't beat yourself up if that's where you are. There's multi-million-dollar corporations that are banking on it that you're there. So it is truly a revolution in itself to figure out how to self-regulate in these days and age, and how to not outsource our power in this day and age, and how to not be obsessed with validation from others in this day and age. So it's a learning process. It doesn't happen overnight, especially when we're dealing with fixed energy. It is not easy to move, but we're doing it. We're chipping away, and that is another big main theme for this moon that I wanted to make sure and added. The second is like the, you know, whole story with the Coldplay concert and the Jumbotron and people getting outed for cheating on their wives or husbands or whatever it was. You know, secrets coming out. We had Mercury go retrograde. What day was that? Oh, Mercury went retrograde on the 17th of July. And so that's putting a spin on this new moon, because Mercury itself is also in Leo at 13 degrees. So maybe with the Mercury retrograde in Leo, there's some dramatic reveals happening. There's some dramatic energy that's being revealed, because Leo is the drama, right? It is that dramatic, and it brings that spice, right? Like, it can once again be good or bad, however you look at it. It could be so annoying, but it also can be that excitement, that, you know, spice for life, that vigor, that feeling of aliveness. And so it's, you know, gonna be interesting to see what comes out for this Mercury retrograde in Leo. Maybe there's going to be like some scandals about people changing their look, you know, because Leo is the look. It's the mane. That's why I had to wear my hair down for this video. I also will say Mercury retrograde in Leo is probably going to be a great time for people to think about changing their look if they want to, but really consider all the repercussions of your decisions as well. But that might be something that's coming up for you. Not only do we have Mercury in Leo with this full moon, or sorry, this new moon, sun and moon in Leo, we have the sun and moon exactly opposite Pluto in Aquarius. And Pluto in Aquarius is a new thing relatively as far as like the span of Pluto goes. Pluto moved last November. Yes, I'm going to repeat this every single video. And it moved, and now we're here, Pluto in Aquarius, and now we're finally seeing Pluto is also retrograde. We're seeing what's going on, what kind of like shifts are happening, what kind of subtle things are happening, because Aquarius is this sign that's a little bit more distant. It's like the rumblings in the distant of what's happening, what's going to be coming. And it's this, you know, future technology. It's everything that we've seen. If you really think about how much things have changed since just November, it's pretty crazy, you know, thinking about the fact that I don't even really use a credit card anymore. I just use my phone every time. Just little things like that is like changing the way we operate in a daily context. So really, how has our lives changed, and how are our jobs changing? How is the power structure changing, because Pluto is power? And how are we, here's the big one, how are we giving our own power away by being this tyrant of our own lives, right? Leo is, you know, associated with kings, and it's the good king or it's the tyrant. And so the tyrant is someone who kind of creates its own living hell, right? Like, it was at the top of the position and it was in charge, and it somehow squandered its own power away to where people found out about it, and they, you know, now are holding this king accountable, and they are now seen in the eyes of the people as a tyrant rather than someone who they actually want to lead them. And it's not about who the person itself thinks that they are. It's about how the people perceive them, and about being judged fairly, hopefully, by, you know, the laws of nature, essentially, and human morality. And yes, it's always wrong. We have cancel culture. We have all this, what have you. We have all this nuance, especially right now, where we're not really sure who's the bad guy anymore. We're not sure if we're the bad guy, or, you know, whoever they're trying to pose us against in war. You know, it's all very like, is everyone evil because terrible things are happening, and I don't really see anybody stepping in and doing the good things. You know, we see the mad lean people, like, these people are small time, you know, individuals that are coming in to protect and coming in to try to take action. These are not like our world leaders that are, they are leaders to some, and rightfully so, but they're not our elected leaders that are coming in to do what they really should be doing. And that's disappointing and scary and alarming, and we're all kind of just living on the edge of our seats, and we're living in a root chakra that's, you know, been shooken up as far as like, do we even feel safe in our own homes, because there's bombs dropping in other places, and there's, you know, people being starved, and there's, you know, all these horrible things are happening around us. And that is enough for us to know that it could be us too. There's not that much that our imagination is separated from that idea that it could be us too. And so there's a lot of fear, but Leo is that courage and that strength and that tenacity to keep shining, to keep bringing the goodness, bringing the light, really. The sun is that like benefic, abundant luminary that is said to be associated with purity and goodness and idealistic qualities and morality and wisdom and all these different really amazing qualities. And Leo just keeps bringing that over and over and over and over again endlessly. And maybe there's some burnout happening because that's not really sustainable for anyone to continue to supply, maybe for the sun. But and I obviously have Leo people in my life that do seemingly have this endless supply of light and energy and beauty and what have you. But I, being the other unhinged sign of the zodiac, Scorpio, I understand that there's only so much you can do with that energy for so long. And there is always a moment where everyone has to take their time to refill their own cup. And that's the side of the Leo that we don't see. And that could be another meaning of this Pluto, Sun, Moon opposition. Could be like, well, okay, so Leo does a great job of presenting themselves as something or someone, the way that perhaps this orange-haired, orange-skinned man presents themselves to the people. But then what are they hiding underneath that is actually the true essence of who they really are? Pluto is the soul. Pluto is truth. Pluto is like the dirty underbelly that everyone has one, and we, try to hide that away and keep it under the soil and keep it hidden and what have you. So what secrets are being revealed that aren't flattering, that are kind of bursting the bubble on this like Leo image of a person who's, got good qualities and is fit to lead and what have you. Those things are going to come up. And with Pluto in Aquarius, I think it's going to be like revolutionary because this information could be something that we decide, okay, like that's enough of what, we can't take this any longer because of this new information that's coming out. Or, maybe it's not even new information. It's like information we always knew, but now has been confirmed and solidified. And it's like, how can we work with this in a way that we can move forward with, right? Like, how are we supposed to move forward now knowing what we know? Sorry, the duck is over here and I'm like, what's the moving? So grateful for the little ducky's company. Side tangent. So let's keep all of that in mind. This opposition to Pluto is not playing around. And like I said, it's also retrograde, so that is what kind of makes me think that it's not something new. This is stuff that we are like, well, hold on a minute now, wait a minute, what about this thing that we talked about? We talked about this, and now where do we stand on it, right? Like, because I can't ignore it anymore. I can't just like put on the happy face, put on the clown makeup, and just keep going through it like, okay, I got my makeup, let's just smile and wave. Like, no. No. We're not doing that anymore. Because that's not authentic, right? What Leo and Aquarius both have in common as the axis that they are is authenticity. Leo is authentically themselves and authentically shining their light, authentically sharing their talents and gifts and whatever else. And that's what makes them so cherished and treasured and pure, right? Like, that's what makes them someone that we want to like essentially worship, right? What do we do with celebrities, and we see that they're so talented, and we see, you know, that we like worship that, because if it's pure and if it's authentic, we can just like appreciate them for being a reflection of the qualities of humanity that we truly idealize. These qualities of, like, you know, a beautiful songwriter, a person who acts really beautifully, a person who makes us feel things through their art, you know, like a person that just can point to something that makes us feel alive within us by being themselves. And Aquarius is nothing without authenticity. That's the key word. And Aquarius has to learn how to let their freak flag fly. And Leo gives Aquarius that courage to be authentic, to let it fly, to be different, to think outside the box. And then that Aquarius thinking outside the box energy lends to Leo that creative edge that makes it something that is like, we've never seen this before, or like, you know, we're so excited for the next new cutting edge, you know, thing that's gonna excite us, and it's innovative, and it's what all these different like qualities of Aquarius. So that's really what I was thinking about when I was thinking about how they both lend each other to be more authentic in the end. And that's what we need to think about if we're going to be thinking about anything when it comes to these archetypes, is authenticity. And so Leo is the king of the jungle. Period. That means it's wild. That means it's respected. That means it, as a lion that just walks through the jungle, it carries with it an air of power with it at all times. It doesn't matter if it's laying around and yawning, or if it's in the middle of devouring its prey. It has that. And it's not checking itself in the mirror to make sure it's all good. Like, it just is. It just is. And Pluto and Mercury are not the only retrograde planets right now. We saw Mercury go on the 17th. Pluto went on the 4th of May. Saturn went retrograde on the 12th of July. And Neptune went on the 4th of July. That's 4 planets retrograde. We are doing some reviewing, and we're doing some thinking through of some things that possibly were made, some decisions that were possibly made that we needed to just make a quick decision. We needed to be impulsive with the Saturn and Neptune and Aries, and so we need to go back and just make sure that everything's good. Mars is in Virgo right now, and Mars is was actually just conjunct the South Node on the 20th? Yep, 21st. Mars in Virgo is the planning. Mars in Virgo is going back over the details. Mars in Virgo is crossing your T's and dotting your I's. It's also checking back in on your physical fitness, your physical health of your body, your digestive health, your health of any of the glands and of the organs that help to purify the body, the kidneys, the spleen, the liver, everything like that. still a really, really amazing time to do like a juice fast or a reset or something if you need that help and assistance. If you want to change your diet, that's something that can really help you kind of just like clear your slate and purify the body. And you know, doing that safely, of course, and not meaning to trigger anyone if there's any issues, like serious issues that are coming up for this. Mars in Virgo can indicate eating disorders. It can indicate pain, you know, tummy pain. It can indicate pains around our sense of purity. What does it mean for us to be pure, and how do we feel about describing ourselves with that word? How is our relationship to purity, and are we someone who believes that we are pure no matter what has happened to us or what we have done, and vice versa? Because that's been something that obviously not everyone has reckoned with, but I'm a Virgo moon, so I have definitely had to reckon with that subject within my own life, figuring out my relationship to purity. Anyways, that could be something that's coming up for you. And so that could be another thing that's playing into this energy right now with the Mars on the South Node. Mars on the South Node could also be, you know, trigger warning, but it could be things like, you know, unaliving yourself with whatever sort of kind of methods. Like, it could be a lot of things. It could be Mars is cutting, it could be blood, it could be, you know, with the Virgo, it could be food or poison or something like that. It could be, you know, something like that. And I only really bring that up so specifically because that has been something that's manifested as a real life possibility in the energy of my world. And so, you know, that is not only just the Mars and South Node together, but it's also this like shocking energy of Pluto. And it's this like, you know, when Pluto's in Aquarius ruled by Uranus, it can be very shocking and sudden information, and it can be like, you know, something that brings total and final change, you know, something that really just can't be undone. And so we can all just kind of hold that as a possibility, but not fear-mongering, and also not like, you know, expecting the worst, but just knowing that that is in the realm of possibilities. And it's completely devastating, and it doesn't take away from the shock of what's happening, but it's just something that could be predictable in the realm of predictions. Anyways, so that's really devastating. If that is something that you've been struggling with or you're going through right now, please know that you are not alone, and the self-isolating thing is really something to be aware of when things like that, sort of tumultuous things happen like that. What also has happened, I woke up this morning to find that Joanna Macy is a well-known activist who speaks about peace and community and unity and overcoming the hardships of life. And she has passed away on the 19th of July, and she is someone I don't really like know a ton about, but I've heard, the first time I ever heard her speak, which was in just a clip of a song, I was moved to tears instantly. And so, you know, and I started thinking about how that could have been, how is that showing up astrologically? You know, Leo is this, person who's a celebrity. Joanna Macy is a celebrity, but she's also someone who is seen as like a leader, an activist. She's someone who is beloved by people who could be considered her followers or citizens, whatever. And the Pluto rules the death realm. It rules the underworld, and so. And Aquarius is also an activism sign. It's this also like, I'm gonna break up the status quo and I'm gonna say the things that people don't want me to say, but I know are true. And so she was 96 years old. I'm not thinking anything was foul play, but who knows? Honestly, she was a powerful being, and she was doing a lot of good in the world, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that were losing money in their pockets because of the things that she was talking about. And I hope that with her death comes an amplification of her work and a resurgence of her work, and it already is like that for me, a reminder of where we need to be and the type of tenacity that we need to sustain, that type of Leo strength and courage that we cannot falter in these days where we are being asked to be ready at all times. We are being asked to live in a state of essentially, permanent fight or flight. And I'm not putting that out there as some kind of weird collective spell or anything, but it's a very amazing thing for people in this day and age of information and this like whole accountability high that everybody's on, where everybody's holding each other accountable whether anybody liked it or not, and we're cancel culturing and we're blah blah blah. Everything's very politicized, and how can it not be, right? So like, when we live in a culture like that where everything is politicized and everything is, if you made the right choice or if you didn't, are you going to be judged by that? Are you not? What kind of choices are you making? It's a privilege to get out of that fight or flight if you can manage to do that, even for just a little bit. And we can manage to do that even just a little bit. Mars and Virgo is that, yes, this is what I can control. I can control what's coming into my body, what I'm eating, what kind of exercise I'm doing, what kind of environment, like, if I'm living in a clean environment, if I'm doing, the Virgo things. Am I working towards my goals? Am I strategizing in the way that is helpful for me to reach my goals? And with the South Node there, of course, we're letting go of the Virgo qualities that are not serving us, which would be, the overthinking, the high anxiety, the getting caught up in the details that don't matter as much. Not that, that's up to you. Not that all details don't matter, but there are some that are more important than others, and being discerning, because Virgo is the archetype of discernment. And can we be discerning about our Virgo things? Can we take a look at our own selves and be like, this is the bad story that I'm telling myself, let that go. This is a bad habit that I continue to feed. This is being let go. Stuff like that. But being overly critical is definitely not the answer, because another thing about Leo that people don't really think about or know, if you study astrology, you do know, but the thing with Leo is like, they on the surface can be this like really strong and beautiful and loving and, beloved person, but deep down they could be this really hurt and wounded and like obsessed with needing validation. That new moon, sun and moon Leo and opposite Pluto could be like coming to terms with your obsession with needing to be validated, your obsession with power, needing to have power over people, needing to have the power of, projecting your illusion upon them, projecting, your ideal version of yourself out there, and, who knows. So looking at where we are obsessed is going to be, what are we obsessed with ourselves? Are we obsessed with other people? Just checking in with all of that, because that can be sneaky. Pluto is very sneaky, and those shadow aspects are sneaky. They're operating in the subconscious and the unconscious, and it's like, whoa. How long has that been going on? Like, how long has this been? And it's like the veil is being ripped apart with the retrogrades. It's like, actually, you need to go back and check that. You need to go back and take a look at this one more time, because that's what happened. And what are you going to do about that now? Like, oh, is that really what I did? Is that really? I'm feeling that a lot lately. And so let's do our work. Let's do our work and actually look back and see what we need to see. Oh, okay. Yeah, by this time next year, Leo will be on the South Node. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, next year at this time, Leo will be on the South Node, and we will be coming back to revisit these terms. And Pluto can be coming back, or coming in now, to kind of prepare us and get some residual layers peeled back so that we can really go and do this work next year with Leo in the South Node, because we are really hopefully going to be putting down our egos and putting down what keeps us separated from each other, what keeps us in the illusion of I'm better or worse than you. Like, it's going to even the playing field, I think, because clearly there are a lot of people on this planet that, and we all can get caught in this, but there are definitely people on this planet that don't believe that everyone deserves equal rights, or like equal opportunity, or equal quality of life. It's just like, I don't understand those people. And like I said, those things are shadowy, and they can show up in weird ways that we don't realize we're still, attached to our white privileges, or whatever, you want to call it, like unlearning racism and unlearning prejudice and unlearning things that are so culturally ingrained in us. And we all have responsibility to do that work, to unlearn those things. But I think that's going to be something that, it's obviously a hot topic right now with all the ICE stuff. And I think these horrible things are happening so that we can remember our own humanity and our own shared humanity and our own, just like checking in with where we are with the skill, innate skill of empathy that we are so lacking in this culture. And we are so, if you are someone who is self-identifying as an empath, I love you. I thank you for being part of the resurgence of something that never should have left in the first place, something that should never have been considered a special talent or a special type of person or a special anything, because we should all have been encouraged to live from this space our entire lives, and it's a tragedy that we've lost any shred of that. And I believe that is what Jupiter in Cancer is here to bring back to us, is this feeling of empathy and compassion and emotional awareness and intelligence and importance, really just like amplifying the importance of our emotions and how we feel on a daily basis and the cycles that we move through and all the things that Cancer, our sense of safety, reminding us how important that is. So once we find a sense of safety with Cancer, which is what we are truly tasked with during Cancer season each year it's a process chipping away at this goal, but then we finally can move through that Leo energy with more fluidity once we've got some groundwork with the Cancer energy, because Cancer allows Leo to have a sense of safety as a foundation so that it can move deeper into its self-expression, deeper into its risk-taking. Leo rules the risk-taking, and it can feel like it's at a safe enough place to gamble with its own reputation, to take a risk, to take a creative risk, to do the Leo thing, which every time we step into the limelight, every time we put ourselves on the internet, every time we put ourselves out there at all in any shape or form, we are becoming vulnerable and we are becoming open to criticism, to scrutiny, to whatever opinions of the masses that they want to put on us. They have the ability to do that because now all of a sudden we're in the public eye, and what are you going to do about it? So there's a big fear around that, rightfully so. I'm bored with Mercury retrograde, so I just kind of get nervous when I'm about to do public speaking. But I also have a Scorpio stellium in the 5th house, and that includes Mercury, and that includes my Sun and my Venus and Pluto. So it's like I don't really have a choice in not being in the public eye, because that's what the 5th house said, and also it involves a level of fear when Scorpio is there and when Pluto is there, and it involves me facing my fear over and over again of being seen, of being perceived, of being out there. And so I've kind of come to terms with that, and I appreciate the opportunity to continue to face my fear and to continue to show up in this space. And I think that is all that I needed to say about this new moon so far. I got a little butterfly on my journal and I don't want to mess him up. We're not going to mess him up. We're just going to go straight into the Oracle deck. This is the most dramatic deck that I've ever owned, and that is why it has been chosen today. It was also the first deck that I ever owned, and I love, they're just straightforward. They're just very, it's an Oracle deck, so there's no numbers and stuff like that. It's all just like themes, but we're gonna draw a card for the Leo new moon, and please give us the card that we need for this collective reading on YouTube. Please give us a card to represent the energy that this new moon in Leo is bringing us, because we are open to hearing the messages from the Energy Oracle deck. All right. Ooh, we got the World. This is one of my favorite cards. We also have the Thinking Man on the bottom of the deck. I always check the bottom of the deck. So the world, you know, like that's Pluto and Aquarius, that's period. It's zooming out and coming to terms with the fact that yes, we are the star of our own show. We are our own main character, Leo energy, but we are playing a role out in the collective, and we can zoom out and we are like, you know, hopefully feeling connected to each other and feeling connected to this inner web of collective energy, because we are all part of this thing, this like network of human consciousness. And what are we contributing to the whole? You know, are the things that make us feel alive and happy and our talents and our creative pursuits, are they something that does make this world a better place to live? Are they something that, you know, not only because it makes us happy, but because it makes the world a more creative and more beautiful and more cohabitable environment? We can really just look at our own individual contributions at this time and really review those in a deep way with the retrogrades. So if I was to wrap all of this up in a nutshell, it's like, just look at what you're doing. Just check it. Just check yourself. Respectfully. Okay, we're gonna pull a rune. This butterfly is still hanging out. Yeah, I see you. I love you. Thank you, the runes. Thank you, rune. Give me a rune. Leo new moon rune. New moon in Leo rune. Okay, sorry. We've got an N. An N? Is it what you are? Oh. We've got an N. Or is it an H that's crossed? Let's check this out. Stand by. Suspense. Okay. Am I just missing it? Okay, so that one doesn't exist unless it's the H, but I don't think it is because it's got a dot that shows us the bottom. I'm like, could it be anything else? Okay, that's a no. We're gonna try one more time. Rooney rune. Rooney rune for the new moon. New moon rune for Leo. Okay. Now this one I know is a thing. Jira. Year, harvest, earth, reward. So yeah, I mean, I've been hearing that phrase in almost all the little videos that I've watched of my other fellow astrologers so far on this energy, and it's like, what are we reaping? Are we reaping what we've sown, and are we happy with what we've sown? And if not, then get it out the garden. Mars in Virgo said, we are not afraid to throw that shit out. We are not afraid to say, no, you are not allowed here. This is not up to standard, period. I think a lot of what's changing in the world is as simple as all of us continuing to move towards a higher quality standard of life and not settling for what we've been settling for so long and what we've been just putting up with and just been like, well, guess we can't do anything about it, or like whatever mentality that we really have had about it, it's like, actually, no, that's not going to work for me anymore. It's not going to be good enough. It's not going to be up to standard. And if you're not up to standard, you can get out. What I'm also energetically feeling as far as like how much rain there has been this year, how much how much this North Node in Pisces has been Pisceing with the floods, with the rain, with all the stuff. And now it's like the Leo season comes in and it's like everything is so wet and moist and humid and steamy and starting to simmer and starting to bubble up and starting to get hot and bothered and getting to the point where it's like, you know, what happens when a tea kettle starts to boil? It starts to scream, and it's like, okay, I hear you, you're here. This is not to be ignored any longer. And the Mars in Virgo is like, what are our bodies trying to say to us to show us we cannot tolerate this anymore? The body is saying we cannot tolerate this any longer. Actually, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so it's like the messenger of the body is like, hell no. These symptoms are here to tell you, hell no, no more, can't do it anymore. So are we going to listen to those subtle knowings? Still have Jupiter in Cancer. We're still going to be getting a lot of new ways of communicating with our intuition and with our psychic abilities. So can we let those things blossom? Can we let those things start to gain some strength, and we practice those muscles, right? We start to exercise those psychic muscles. And so if you haven't subscribed or liked this video yet, please do so. I really appreciate all the new viewers and new subscribers if you're one of those. And I will be back again in 2 weeks for our full moon in Aquarius. Bringing in that Aquarian Pluto energy one more time. Probably not just one more time. We're so just getting started with Pluto and Aquarius. But yeah, I would love it if you sent this video to someone who it might resonate with. And as always, I will see you in 2 weeks.